Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and I am Beth Christie, your hostess. In Touch is our weekly half-hour public affairs show, which means that at the end of the program today, if you are a member of a nonprofit group or organization, if you are a company here in the Hudson Valley that is helping out a nonprofit group or organization, whether it's through a fundraising, whether it's through getting the word out, whether it is through something that your employees are passionate about, something that you're concerned about in the Hudson Valley, at the end of the show today, I will give you a myriad of ways that you can get a hold of me, and we'd love to have you on the show and talk about what's important to you. So let me turn on a microphone. Let me first say this is a pre-recorded program. So while it is early in the morning, know that any websites, any phone numbers, anything, head to the website of the station that you're listening to, and you can find the article, keyword In Touch, very simple, very easy, and we'll have an article there with a post with everything. So it is my pleasure to introduce Carissa Brown. She is here. Good morning. It's your first time on the show. She is program manager and social worker at the Center for Neurodegenerative Care.
Yes, good job.
I'm trying. At ArchCare at Ferncliff Nursery Home in Rhinebeck. So, Carissa, thank you very much for being willing to put yourself behind the microphone. I think that's powerful.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I think that talking about this and talking about what we're going to all learn about Ferncliff and what we're going to learn about ArchCare and what it is that you do, I think is going to be very powerful for individuals and families here in the Hudson Valley. I mean, obviously, we all know that people know what the words nursing home means. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling, as with any show that I do, sometimes there's a little bit of re-education that needs to happen about what it is that we're talking about. Things have changed significantly.
So much.
And they change every year, it seems to me, from when my mother-in-law was in a long-term rehabilitation facility to what my family is handling right now at this moment with another member of our family, and that was only a matter of 3 years. And I'm like, this is very different. So it's great that you're here because, like I said, I think that folks listening this morning are really going to be able to get some information that can help them put their mind at ease.
Thank you. Yes.
So that's very cool. So let's talk about, obviously with your title, program manager, social worker, there's an awful lot. I can't believe
Jack of all trades.
They let you out of the building to come here, first off.
I sneaked out.
But they did let you out. So let's kind of talk about Ferncliff. Let's kind of, as we talk before we turn the microphones on, a little bit of a plan this morning of an overview of Ferncliff.
Okay.
So when people say Ferncliff Nursing Home, what do you want them to know about that?
That's a loaded question.
I told you I would do that. I told you.
I definitely would like the community to know, just in general, I'm in the mix of healthcare, so I know what's trending. I know what's new. I know what needs to be done. But I'm not sure if the community knows that. And so what does that mean? So that means long-term care is no longer just long-term care. Long-term care is rising to the occasion of meeting multiple generations. I mean, we're in a sandwich gap generation. Yep. Mm-hmm. We have baby boomers. We have people with a host, a myriad of diseases, complications. It's just not what it used to be. But that's not a bad thing, because accepting what is means you're not rising to the occasion and offering the best care that you can offer.
Right.
So that's what I would like the community to know about Ferncliff, because we have multiple services to meet the needs of people on all levels of functioning. We offer short-term rehabilitation, subacute stays for older adults and younger adults in the community that may need some sort of rehabilitation, physical therapy, occupational therapy, just some fine tuning so that they're able to go home and really live independently as they wish. In addition to short-term rehabilitation, we have long-term care services for our older adults, and also we're seeing baby boomers, younger people that need clinical services. In addition to that, we offer services for dementia. We are hosting a unit right now as we speak in transition. We're under a lot of transition for our Alzheimer's population. And we're really trying to meet the needs of those individuals and really trying to understand the dementia process to to really stand out but really just stand out in the community as having this understanding of what Alzheimer's brings and what kind of care a person really needs individually.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to give my real big plug. We are working on the Center for Neurodegenerative Care, which I'll bring it back. I'm the program manager and social worker for.
Okay.
So what is neurodegeneration?
I told you I wouldn't need to ask any questions. Absolutely.
Neurodegeneration is a multiple host of diseases. But specifically our unit, we are seeking to help those with Huntington's disease and ALS. ArchCare saw for a while that Huntington's disease is across New York State. We're thinking about 2,000 to 4,000 people are affected.
Wow.
And many long-term care facilities are unable to meet the needs of Huntington's disease because it is a very complicated and very resource-demanding disease.
I was going to ask you because I'm not familiar with what that is. Okay, well, I'm semi-familiar, probably enough to get the wrong idea. So kind of educate us when you talk about Huntington disease. As you said, it's a bit complicated. What are we talking about?
Okay, it is a genetic disorder. It affects about 30,000 people in the United States, and about 200,000 of their family members are at risk with a 50% chance.
Okay.
It is a neurodegenerative disease. It affects your muscles, it affects your emotions, your cognition, your physical capabilities, and you often see a trend in impulsivity because it affects certain parts of the brain where people slowly lose control in multiple places, whether it's physical or emotional.
Wow.
You see early onset dementia.
Oh.
And this can affect people as there's juvenile Huntington's disease. You can see it affect 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds. I mean, it really, when it strikes.
There's no age that says, oh, once you've gotten past this, you're good, or you can. There's none. It doesn't seem to be fair on any playing field.
It's really not a fair disease. It's not. And once it affects you, once the prominent symptoms show, that can last from 10 to 20 years, and then a person will slowly degenerate with that disease into a host of stages of how the disease will affect you.
So to me, if you're the individual that's received the diagnosis, you obviously are concerned about your care and what does this mean, but your family members, and how do you do that? And then how do you take the best care of someone that you love?
Yes.
Of what they need, and not everybody is going to be an expert on this.
No, but we do say that the families are the expert.
Mm-hmm.
The families are really heroes, and I commend the families. I've met so many wonderful men and women who take care of these people that have this diagnosis, and because it is a genetic disorder, one family member may have it, 7 family members may have it. It's really a family disease, and I have just seen so many amazing heroes on the front lines saving these people and keeping them in their homes for as long as they possibly can, and really adapting the house or modifying the environment, or just really working with some of the, I say quirks because there's some kind of behaviors and habits that come sometimes with Huntington's. And these family members don't even blink an eye and sometimes don't even stop to ask for help. So that's what we're aiming for at Ferncliff, to not just be a center of long-term care for people with Huntington's disease. It's really a home and a center where families can come and have support and feel that they can stay there from sun up to sundown, or know that they have the comfort that we have the expertise and the skill to take care of this disease, and they can finally go live their lives outside of a long-term care facility and take care of the things that they need to take care of for themselves.
And so, to me, what it sounds like is that there is an education process that would be able to happen.
Yes.
That can reduce stress.
Yes.
The more that you know, the more that you understand, the more that you say, oh, okay, now we know. Like maybe they can stay at home a little longer because they've gotten more tools,
Yes.
more education, more resources. Because whoever came up with the first idea of a support group will never get credit for it.
Oh.
But it is extremely powerful to know that you are not the only one in that situation, that you are not, and that there are people there and people here and people at Ferncliff who can help you with that, who can show you the road because they've been on it before. That's very powerful.
Correct. Yes.
Very powerful. And I like how it feels like, too, not just an education portion, but that there are options. You don't have to automatically go, oh, this is long term.
Right.
This is long term. It may absolutely, at some point, it may become that. But how great would that be to me as a family member if I've already been working with these individuals, if they've already been helping us, they've already been a resource. Then when that time comes, you don't feel like you have to start all over again.
Absolutely.
Because that is stressful.
Absolutely.
Beyond belief.
Yes. And that's just for me. I will receive phone calls from family members in the community and say, my husband has Huntington's disease, my mother has it, etc. And they'll say, I don't know what to do. Can I just come to your facility? And I'll say, first of all, you can come meet me anytime you want. Even if you're not ready for long-term care, come meet me, come see what we do, and come have a conversation with people that are coming to understand what this disease is, because I feel like there's few and far in between that really do understand this disease. Many people are inappropriately placed into psychiatric wards. Many people are living in hospitals for long periods of time because they're not able to find placement.
Wow.
Right.
That's the stuff that breaks my heart. It does, because you're like, no, there's help, there's information, there's no one is saying there's any guarantees at all in life, but boy, you can get educated, you can get support, you can have resources, and then you can make a much better decision.
Absolutely.
Of what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
So that's very, very powerful that you're there and able to do that. I also, in terms of caregivers, and what caregivers do, that is and this is an understatement, so my apologies to anyone listening this morning who is also a caregiver. That is an extremely difficult thing to do. So to have support as a caregiver just for yourself is very strong and powerful too, that it's okay for you to actually enjoy some things in your life, that it's okay. There's people there that understand.
Right. So we, just to piggyback that, we just hired our own medical director for the neurodegenerative unit. We've taken Dr. Kufner on board. He's an amazing man. He's been a neurologist in the community I don't even have for a long time. And he and I will be working in tandem for our support groups to bring education about disease process, to bring support to families about what it's like to have somebody in long-term care, or what do I expect next? Where do I begin with advanced directives? What are advanced directives? Who do I call? Do I need a lawyer? What do I do about insurance? Things of that nature, where it's just an extra set of eyes where he and I will partner, and we'll have those in the evenings. We're starting those at the end of February, February 25th. And we plan to have our introductory meeting with families. And we really want to know, what do you want from us? Because it's a guaranteed we can provide long-term care. What are those additional feelings or things that you have on your mind that you just want a discussion about? Anything. It could be anything.
Because a lot of times what happens with families is, I feel, and this is just a lay person's, and you certainly are the expert in this field, but from my own experience and watching some of my friends, the point at which you begin to have a conversation about maybe long-term care or even a short-term care is when you are at the hospital, when you now realize you're in a situation you didn't expect, and now there's all these questions. And then you're trying to educate yourself while you are in the midst of a lot of emotions.
Yes. And then you're in a reactionary stage.
Yes. I don't know anyone who's ever really made the best decision at that point. But you have to, you're like, okay, they can't, there's a limit. What is insurance going to do? What will insurance cover?
Exactly.
What can we do? What do they want? Where's the, so to me, having been in that situation, it would have been a blessing to have been able to sit down and have a conversation when you're not in the reactionary phase.
Absolutely. The discussion on long-term care really for anybody on the planet. You're going to get old. I mean, unfortunately, unless...
And if we're lucky enough, we will.
I mean, Billy Joel said only the good die young. So unfortunately, if you have a short time on this life, but if that's the projection. You're going to grow old and you need the resources and the insurance and the long-term care and the advanced directives and all that planning.
Yeah.
Start now. I start now because I am a social worker. I know what I need to put in place, but not many people do. Not many 29-year-olds go out, have a glass of wine with their best friends and talk about, well, do you want to be a DNR or a CPR?
Right.
Do you want to be intubated? What would you do if you had to have a feeding tube?
Right.
But we're seeing people that are my age that are having these conversations.
And I feel like, and again, this is from my side of it in a lay term, is that because as people are getting older and living longer, family members are seeing that. And I think that, there is that sandwich generation. There are people who are taking care of their parents and taking care of children and possibly grandchildren. And so now you really are seeing what both ends of that age spectrum needs and what happens. I am going through something right now where I sat down with my husband and I said, okay, there's a couple of things that I now realize that I need to make a decision on so that I save my family and friends from ever having to worry, to debate, to add stress if they're making the right decision. I've already made it for them. And that's a gift that you can give your family. You don't think about it that way until you're in the situation when you're trying desperately to figure out what to do. So you are right. I mean, asking those questions are imperative because if you love somebody, you're really saving them.
Absolutely. That's very true.
I say that only because we are in the midst of it right now. And those things are very powerful.
It is very powerful. And it is, I will say, I can get on the microphone and say we need to have these conversations. I can educate whoever I need to educate, but it is a very emotional process to see people my age go through this because I can say we need to prepare, but I'm not coming from a place where I may only have 6 years left to live.
Right.
I mean, maybe I do, but nobody handed me a diagnosis and pretty much said, well, we'll give you support. But no one knows how that person really feels. And that's really what I try to take into consideration with not just people on the long-term care unit, the neuro unit. It's just with everybody in life. Just have that feeling and have that understanding. It's just makes you a good human. So
I completely agree. I could not agree more. What it sounds like and what I love of ArchCare at Ferncliff is that there are services for it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the situation. There is someone there to talk to. There is someone there to help. Where people may feel by themselves, they're not.
No.
And they may have in their mind that, oh, I know that this is the road we're going on. But maybe you're not. And maybe by coming in and talking and with the support groups, you go, oh, wait. I don't have to. I jumped way too far ahead. I completely made this leap that has completely freaked me out for 2 weeks. I don't need to freak.
Absolutely not.
There's a few steps in between that apparently I jumped over. And that's a great thing, too.
Yes. And I will say that when we follow these people in the community and we let them know, I don't have your disease, but I understand that you will progress. You understand you will progress. If you need a care center, we're here for you.
Right.
And we actually have somebody come live with us on our unit who has been followed in the community for months. And when we first met with her, she was not ready to come to long-term care. She was like, I'm not living with old people because there's that thought, and obviously that's not how we view it, but that's how some people in the community view it. And she's in her 30s. So I said, listen, these are our services we have. We have activities that are all day long, I really work with activities to make sure that they're geared towards younger women. We're seeing a younger generation come in through those doors.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the other day, I feel like we have a sorority house, because I've got a few women that are on the unit, and they could be my friends. They're almost my age. So she warmed up to the idea, and we've been checking in weekly. She checks in with Alicia, the social worker, and she called and she finally said, you know what? I understand. I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
I need help, and I'm going to come live with you.
And thankfully, she had those conversations with you all before. And that's what you meant. And when you began the program, you talked about the fact that you are seeing individuals that are younger.
Yes.
Through diagnosis, through accidents, through surgeries that may need to come in and have rehabilitation or long-term. That's kind of what I meant too when they said, nursing home, people think, oh, there's a certain age group and that's what that is. And it has changed significantly. It really is.
It has changed significantly.
Yeah, it's a place where you can get better, where you can heal, where families can find peace no matter what is going on. You can find support. There is life there.
There is.
And there is a significantly better quality of life.
Absolutely. And all of our clinical licensed or unlicensed staff on the unit, we rarely switch it up unless we absolutely have to. But everybody that works on that unit is designated to that unit. So if you're designated to the Center for Neurodegenerative Care, that means you have to do ongoing education about neurodegeneration, partake in services on Huntington's disease and ALS. And they're some of the most amazing people I've ever worked with. The CNAs that I work with are like family. And I just see them interact with everyone all day long as though I think they're a godsend. And I just want to make sure that they know, if somebody's listening to this, what they do for our residents every day is, just like our caregivers in the community, heroic. It really is.
Yeah, because they touch a life. And
Absolutely.
They touch a family.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing more important than that. So if folks are listening and they say, okay, now how do I get a hold of this? What numbers do I call? Is there a website? I'm not sure, but how do I get started? I told you I'd ask 3 questions at once, and this may be a prime example of that. So
I'll break it down 3 ways.
Okay.
Well, I certainly encourage people to call me directly. So you can reach me at 845-516-1675. If you want to take a tour, meet me in person, meet the team, I am more than willing to schedule that. Whatever time works for you, I will accommodate. I'm coming in this weekend. So just so you know, if you need to come in at an oddball hour, I will certainly meet your needs, because I know that life doesn't work 8 to 4.
Right. Right. That's
although
so very
the banks think that, but not us.
Not the rest of us that live in the real world. And things things seem to happen when you have a question and you get scared, and it's after 4.
Absolutely.
I think I've been more freaked out at night than I ever have at any other time during a day. I don't know. So they can call 845-516-1675. Is there a website that we will be able to link to in this article, but to give folks?
Yes. And that would be www.archcare.org/neuro, NEURO.
NEURO. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, please know that in whatever station you're listening to this morning, head to their website. There will be an article, and I will have links to all of this, and I will put the phone number in so that people can get information. And as we've been talking, it's just so powerful. The first time that our family went through this, no one knew. No one had ever done this. No one knew. And as you said, you were in a reactionary phase. It was also a few years ago, but you try to educate yourself. You try to figure out what's the best thing. What is someone's wishes? What are they not? And that's an awful lot. That's an awful lot for a 3-day span, or a weekend, or a week. So to me, having a facility as Ferncliff and the services that are there, you're really helping out yourself and your family to go find out.
Oh, absolutely. It's tremendous. And we are a vital access provider, which means we received quite a large grant through the Department of Health, the state of New York. So how does that matter to families? Well, it does matter because it allows us to have an enhanced program. So that means we can have enhanced staffing ratios, unlike you've seen before.
Yeah.
So at any given moment, you could walk into a long-term care unit and you might hear somebody upset about staffing ratios or we're short-staffed, or you never know. You hear these things in healthcare, and if anyone's in healthcare, they're going to totally know what I'm saying.
I've heard, yes.
But our grant has afforded us to maintain a model moving forward, grant or no grant, for enhanced staffing ratios for our residents to meet the needs of their physical, emotional, and cognitive, however we need to work that plan of care.
Wow. That is very powerful for families to know, because sometimes even though you've educated yourself and you've found information, it's still a very hard decision to make. And then people, as a caregiver, you worry, well, no one else is going to be able to take care of them as well as I. And what happens if they need something and there's no one there? And while even in your own home, you may be taking the garbage out and the individual needs something.
Absolutely.
And the same can happen in any facility, but I think it's powerful, like you said, enhanced staffing ratios. So it's not short staff.
No.
At all.
No.
And that's powerful.
No. I mean, there's a social worker dedicated to the unit. We will be a 38-bed unit after we embark upon construction. We're actually in the midst of that right now. We'll be done within the year. So right now we have capacity for 19 beds. We have a social worker dedicated to those 19 beds. You have the program manager, I also have a master's in social work, so that's me. We have a medical director for just the unit. We have a clinical care coordinator who's an RN who oversees the unit as well. She is the unit manager, clinical care coordination. We have 2 additional RNs per shift.
Wow.
And we have our enhanced care members, CNAs. We have a physical therapist dedicated to the unit for assisting residents with walking or positioning, whatever their needs are at the time. She is it's a she, but she is to round the unit and find where that resident may need physical therapy services. We have an occupational therapist designated just for this unit.
That shows you what this does.
I mean, we're almost actually tripping over each other, and I'm not going to complain.
No. No.
But we are certainly enhanced staffing. I mean, every discipline is there at any given moment for eyes on the resident. Very
powerful information. And believe it or not, we only have 3 minutes left.
Oh, my goodness.
It goes really fast. Again, I want to give everyone the phone number, 845-516-1675.
Thank you. Yes.
To be able to call. And whatever station you're listening to this morning, head to the website. The article will have links to everything. But Carissa, closing comments, some final thoughts you'd like to leave with folks this morning.
I would like to leave a final thought that I think long-term care facilities I think people, it's not only a godsend when it helps a caregiver out, but sometimes it can be viewed as you feel a lot of guilt when you finally reach that phase where you have to put your loved one in a facility. But I just want everyone to know that you don't have to feel guilty, because people like me have spent their entire life being, I was very young. I was 20 and I said, you know what? I want to help people. And I'm a caregiver as well, but I work in different shifts like someone else. So I just want everyone to know that we are a family there, and you don't have to feel guilty, and that all you're doing is you're adding to your family by coming and being with us.
And you're adding to the quality of life of
absolutely.
Of the individual, I believe. If you've found the right facility and you've done your homework and you've done all this, and as you've laid out, there's plenty of opportunities for people to do that at Ferncliff, to know and understand whatever their situation may be. So, Carissa, thank you very, very much for being willing to put yourself behind the microphone. And for those of you, hopefully there's something that you've learned this morning that you can take away with you. As I've mentioned a couple times during the show, I know there's an awful lot discussed in this short amount of time. Please go to the website of whatever radio station you're listening to Keyword is In Touch. Find the program today. There's an article. We'll have links on everything. If you would like to be on the show to talk about what is important to you in our community in Hudson Valley, in Orange County, in Sullivan County, here's how you can get a hold of me. Phone number 845-471-1500. My extension is 159. Email is beth.christie@townsquaremedia.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. I'm probably in too many places, but you can find me there. And I hope that you do, so that we can have you on the program and talk about what's important to you. Take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.